All right, friends, welcome to Perry Live with Ron Drake. I'm excited to be here today. Again, Perry Live is this idea of getting locals together in this community here that I'm working in here in Perry, Oklahoma, and having folks tell their stories, talk about the importance of this whole downtown revitalization effort, and really to share with you the viewer what's going on, because a lot of times people, they don't know what's going on in the downtown.
Mm-hmm.
And so today I'm happy to introduce my good friend Craig Chemnitz. Craig, I'm glad you're on the show. Now, before we get started, I'm gonna surprise you. Are you familiar with the Dos Equis World's Most Interesting Man by any chance?
I don't think I am.
This guy right here on the screen, have you ever seen his?
No. I don't think I've seen him.
You've not seen this guy
No.
on the commercials?
No.
You watch TV? You never watch
Yeah,
TV?
yeah. But I don't see him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's claimed to be the world's most interesting man. I'm going to
Okay.
claim that you are Perry's most interesting man.
Oh, okay. You might have a point, but there again, yeah.
Everybody downtown knows your gas station.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Right here, the Sinclair, right on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and about it, and why everybody knows about the green dinosaur on the corner.
Okay. Ron introduced me. I'm Craig, and I have Chemnitz Oil Company, and I grew up in Perry, Oklahoma. Perry has always been my home. I was born, though, in Bremerton, Washington, when my dad was in the Navy, and he got out of the Navy, and he painted houses for a month or two, and he really didn't like it, so he bought himself a job. He bought the oil company and gas station on the southeast corner of the square, and that's where the dinosaur sits today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I was reading, I was doing a little bit of research before we started today, and found there's a lot of articles about this gas station here, and I'm going to steal a little bit of the tagline. That would be a little bit cheesy. So I believe that the heart of the community is the downtown. People have heard me saying that, and in Perry, the heart has been pumping gas for 80 years, right?
Well,
the heart's
you.
been pumping for 80 years
Thank
in
you.
downtown Perry.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
If you want me to add to that,
Yeah.
that is a long story. I mean, I can go from day one when Mid-Continent Petroleum opened the station, and they built it in '37, which our 80th anniversary was last year, last year.
Yeah.
It was last year. It was
It
November
was.
13th,
I
and
was here.
we had an event, and it was really. Well, my dad bought it in 1955, so it was really a new gas station. It was 17 years old when my father bought it in 1955.
Okay.
So, I've seen a lot of things, in the gas station world. There was 20-some gas stations when I was growing up because there wasn't convenience stores, there wasn't self-service gas stations, etc. So we had to learn how to wait on the cars, wait on the drive, and now
Right.
we still do that to an extent with, older customers or people who can't get out of their car, but we couldn't do that, on a full extent, thank goodness, because it's too busy. You can't go out there. It's hard sometimes to get through the customers we have now to just get gas and get out of there, let alone trying to wait on them and then they be backed up. But anyway, it started out as that, and what has kind of made it go through the years is a work ethic. I mean,
Right.
suit up and show up.
Right.
And I can't think of 5 times since my family has had it 60-some years, since 1955, or I guess 62 years, that it's ever been shut down because of a sickness.
Wow.
We've closed before for half days for funerals. I mean, and my dad was that way, and I can
Right.
even remember when my dad passed away 10 years ago, the service was in the morning, and one of my pallbearers got up and left because we had fuel to go haul to a drilling rig.
Yeah.
So
Right.
really,
That's dedication.
Yeah, I mean, dedication.
Well, and you said something at that ceremony that was great. It was very well attended. A lot of influentials were here from Oklahoma and different ones to come to your 80th anniversary. And you said something that stuck, and you were kind of saying it joking around, but it's true. And I don't want to take the words out of it, but basically it was something along the lines of, hey, a lot of people have called you this and called you that and said things about you over the years and said you should leave downtown or do this, but you outlasted every one of them. Well, I'm saying you, meaning the gas station, you and your dad and your family. You outlasted them all.
You know,
They've all came and gone.
that was, you know, that statement was made by Rusty Shaw, who owns OnQ, or now he's president of OnQ, and he's been my friend forever. And he said that, and was really, I was really surprised Rusty would say that, you know, being his position. But yeah, we've seen a lot of them come and go, and the main thing is suit up and show up. But the other part of that is do a profit and loss every day. You got to know where you stand every day. Because, you know, you got to meet payrolls, you got to know when your loads are due, you got to, you know, and you got to charge a certain margin on your fuel to make everything go.
Yeah.
To make it profitable, or it wouldn't be there. So, you know, thankfully it's been, you know, my loyal customers, like I've said this before, but I mean, Charles Machine Works, we've took care of them. Let's see, in April it will be 30 years, because I took them over April 1 of 1988, and of selling their lubricants and their fuel. And you know, they are a company too that, you know, more suit up and show up. They have been a workforce, and I don't know, I'm sure they do a P&L every day too. I know the Malzahn family, I mean, they know what money's where, and they know where they are.
Right.
So that being said, you know, without them, you know, I don't know where we would be, but thank goodness we have them. And I think, you know, the infrastructure stuff and all that, of which our new president is starting right now, I think Ditch Witch, and I hope it goes, is like, you know, really going to do good.
Right.
I mean, not like that it hasn't. It's done real well anyway. But I mean, I think this is really good for all of us, and really too. That being said, it'd be good for downtown Perry, because it's hard to start up anything when things are slow. I don't care what it is. If things are real slow, somebody say we ought to do that, we ought to do this. Well, who's going to do it if you ain't got no money, and everybody's dauber's down like, man, we can't do it, we ain't got the money. Right. But I think, you know, with Ditch Witch and Main Street, they're helping Main Street, and, you know, got you to help get the job done. You know, and I can see some enthusiasm. Right. I mean, the new drugstore. Right. That's. Have you had a soda there yet? I had a soda, and I had a malt there yesterday. Okay. And you know, to show that kind of money is being spent in downtown Perry is great. And I don't want to forget my friends too on Fur Avenue, who have Perry Pharmacy. That was a new drugstore built 2 or 3 years ago with the drive-through, and they are nice people. And both of them have, you know, like going to make Perry, you know, or believe in Perry, or they wouldn't put the money here. Hey, rising tide raises all ships, right? Yeah, so, you know, we're excited for right now, you know, so today or yesterday, that was Foster's Day. Right. It's their day, their grand opening. We're excited about it. But honestly, we don't want any other business. We want all businesses in Perry to succeed. For sure. We don't want one business because something else. And I think there's a little bit of that kind of, I don't want to get off track too much, but I think you brought up a good point in that there's a lot of times, you know, a business is fearful because we're trying to recruit other businesses and do other things, so we're going to put them out of business. That's not the case. We want to create new business that helps, you know, raise all businesses, and you know, and hopefully we can, as we're opening new business and do things, we can teach these other guys or whatever that, hey, this is actually good for the community and good for your business, you know? Yeah, and you can show people too. I mean, I'm sure it's hard, for a young person to think, how long can we last, or can we stay, or can we make it? And if you take a daily inventory and stuff, you can and promote your business. Because you look around, not only, it was my dad, Sun Oil Company, our gas station, even Marvin Gyrus worked there in the 40s, and he was one of the co-founders of Sonic Corporation. And Marvin stops by to talk to me, every once in a while about how the gas station's going.
Yeah.
And because he has a place in between here and Stillwater, and he frequents the Perry, I don't know, a couple times a month and stays out there.
Okay.
And then we've got, Thorn Originals, which, Vicky works. There's work ethic.
Right.
It does well. You've got Noble County Tractor. We've got some long life things that do real good.
You really do.
I don't know, how many more. I know I missed a few. For instance, I was talking to you this morning. I go over there and I have me a tea at Dale's place, the nutrition place,
shop.
And he's a Stillwater guy.
Yeah.
And I check in with him and get the mail. And then Brian and Tina Ahern also came from Stillwater, and they've had that place 611 Bakehouse for about 8 years or longer. So there's two Stillwater people that uprooted and came to Perry. Whenever usually it's the other way around.
Right.
So, and they seem to be liking it and making it good. And I don't want to forget the comeback lunch.
Right.
Mary Lee, she's another one that works herself to death and always has. She knows business. She knows same thing, what it makes, what you can do every day to make it run, and it's ran forever. And if you have that mentality, I think that you can go places with it, because there's not a better looking downtown than Perry, Oklahoma.
And this square's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
All right, so you mentioned Dale's, and I like to bump into. I bump into you every once in a while at Dale's, and every time I bump into you at Dale's, I learn something new. I hear a new story. So, what's your Perry, kind of your little Perry fun fact we talked about today? You're supposed to have something you're going to tell us here.
Well,
maybe everybody doesn't know about here in downtown, about downtown Perry.
At downtown Perry,
or just Perry.
Yeah, just Perry.
Just Perry. I'm sorry.
I put one out there real quick to him. Where I own the 8th and Ash, down where I load the tank trucks and all, and I have the block across the street, and that used to be more or less, the red light district of Perry. But I said I didn't know if everybody knew that. It was, Homer Thompson owned it, that owned Thompson's Barbecue.
Okay.
And he would sell barbecue and stuff out of his house, and he had the barbecue place where the Tabor's Octoplex is now. And in high school, we would go out there and get barbecue. Me and my friend John Boone would go get barbecue. And that's another Perry success story, Northern Oklahoma Metals. He's my friend. He's in Enid. He's in Stillwater. He's got the Perry Yard. Who knows where John will expand. He is too. He's conscientious with money, and he's one of these guys that work all the time too. So I don't know why, that just popped in my mind. And he's graduated with me also. So too, in return, he hopes Perry does good, because he repainted and stuff buildings he's got on 6th Street, and he, I think it was the Boss Rhodes Chrysler dealership.
Right.
He owns, him and his wife Cindy. So, I'll be missing people's names, but there's a lot of neat guys that really are doing something that you really just don't, you don't think
You're
about.
right. There's a lot going on in this town.
And we,
a lot of positive
momentum, if we can all stick positive.
Right.
That's the deal.
I see you. So you mentioned 611. You mentioned Nutrition Shop. You mentioned Thorns and Comeback, and you're mentioning a lot of spots downtown. It's important to you, I believe, to spend money, probably not just in Perry, but really, for you, right, even in the downtown core. I see you eating and getting coffee and stuff at these places pretty often. How important is that for a community, do you think, to survive by taking care of their own?
It is real important for Perry to take care of their own. it's not all just, I mean, I'm glad for the policies, but it's all not really Perry's fault. I mean, don't put it this way. You go to other towns and they're in worse shape than we are.
I know.
We've got a
always
core
greener
that
on the
wants
other
to do
side,
good. Yeah, I mean, it is important because, I don't know, I grew up when they had everything. I mean, let alone, I don't know how many cafes around. I mean, right down the street, was the OK, the Aussie Karcher, E&L, Evelyn and Leroy Co., the corner lunch over there where the YMCA is.
Right.
I mean, we've had about everything. I mean, when I grew up, we had that. We had Picture Show. It was north of Foster's. That's what yesterday when I was in Foster's, I thought we'd go get a Coke and walk to the Picture Show. Not only that, we had a drive-in theater and stuff. But it wasn't just everything. Right. It was automobiles, cars, highways. Right. You thought, well, what's 30 minutes to Stillwater? What's an hour to Oklahoma City? So that hurt small town America.
Yeah, right.
So, we've got better than most, but we've got things that we could be better with, per se, you helping, the Charles Machine Works, I don't know, Rick Johnson, Angie Drake, they're both involved in that.
Right.
And that, why wouldn't you want it to fly?
Right.
I mean, you just want to. And now, I've seen other times when the economy was good and it tried to take off. Well, now we've got it kind of in the works with different things going, and we've got Charles Machine Works, to my estimation, is doing real well, and we've got people that's got an attitude that wants to try to do it. So, I'm all on board with,
I think maybe some of the difference today, which you're kind of alluding to as well, with with this effort, this downtown effort, is things seem to be aligning. I was in a meeting yesterday. What is today? I guess it was Tuesday afternoon at City Hall, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that the leadership at City Hall, they want this downtown effort to work. I mean, they want everything to work, obviously, but I mean, there's a very serious intentional effort happening right now, and so I think when you have the leadership, maybe for the first time in a long time, if ever, I don't know, saying, what does it take, Ron? Come on, let's have a meeting. What does it take to make this work? And we're changing policy at City Hall to make projects happen easier, to make permits easier, still safe, still up to code, but easier. And then the same thing, like you said, with Charles Machine Works, they've made it very clear. I've sat and talked with Dennis Wearsbecky at Ditch Witch, and he's like, yeah, we need this. I mean, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but that's the general feeling that we're getting everywhere. And then with longtime community leaders like yourself, you've been a big advocate of mine. I really appreciate that. I just want to tell you that. You're always shaking my hand. You're always saying you're happy I'm here and what can you do, and so I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you. I was thinking too. I know I forget more than once, but I don't know if you've ever been to. The Shady Lady has got the best peach apple pie there is. Now, I was going about cafes, but Debbie and the Shady Lady, their peach apple pie is great. I know, but this town. Another thing, okay, it's 5,000 and does great for a town of 5,000. Okay, it's the seat of Noble County.
Right.
So, I mean, it's got some things looking up, for it that. Okay, there again, they've got two large banks.
Right.
Both banks have done well for years. So, you've got to throw them in there too.
Right.
I don't know. I was saying the Exchange Bank's got some stuff going in Stillwater, but that makes our bank over here
even
stronger.
Right.
So they're doing real well, and I know some of the people at First. They're my friends, and they're doing well also.
We've been real fortunate working with Main Street. We're working really closely with both banks, sending people saying, hey, we want you to be involved in this effort, and again, sending that message. The First project, that's the first, the restaurant project and stuff, that's being financed by a local bank. So, we want to try to finance local. We want to try to buy our materials as much as we can local, and we want to try to just keep this tax dollar recirculating in town. All right, so we're starting to run out of time. I got a few questions for you. And I don't know if you can answer this one quickly, but try to give it a shot. So the Sinclair had a 100-year celebration.
Yes, sir.
And when they did they come to Perry?
They came to Perry.
Can you tell me how or why?
I'll get to this real quick, okay? We get letters from Sinclair Oil all the time, and they said they, was 100 years old, which I knew. I'm kind of a history buff, and they said that they needed photos and stuff of oil wells or anything you had on 100 years or Oklahoma oil. And I thought, I've got the Garber Field where Harry Sinclair came and it's west of Perry, and I've got pictures from it, so I can send them some pictures. So anyway, I seen a deal, and I called up and I told them in Salt Lake City, I said, I've got some photos. I said, if you said you needed some, and I've got the original ones. And they said, well, thank you, Craig, and we'll be there sometime. And I said, well, I've got the oldest operating gas station, too, in the state of Oklahoma, maybe the oldest Sinclair station in the country. And they said, we'll check, and thanks again, and I said, okay. And so I got off the phone, and
maybe they'll come.
They're
interested
maybe
or
they'll
something
come.
like that. Yeah.
So I called up my friend John Grondike in Enid, Oklahoma, and Grondike has trucks in every state in the United States and New Mexico and Canada. And he's an influential guy, and I said, do you haul fuel out of Salt Lake City for Sinclair? He said, yes, sir, my trucks do. And I said, you know any guys at Sinclair? And he said, well, I do, but what's your deal, Craig? And I said, well, they told me they might come sometime, and I told them, well, that was fine. He said, Craig, call them back and tell them that I have a 1916 Paris Aero, like President Wilson's car, and I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll get it in Perry, Oklahoma, whenever you want it to be in Perry, Oklahoma, and Sinclair can celebrate their 100 years. And I said, okay. So then I call Sinclair back, and I say, John Grondike's got his 100th year, Pierce Earl 1916. What can you do? And they said, we'll fly into Tulsa next Tuesday and come to your place. So any rate, kind of a deal there. It's kind of two, maybe who you know. And they came, and it was a great event. I had Charles Machine Works people there.
Nice.
I've had Ed Malzahn, like 2 months before he passed, came out to my house with the Phillips 66 representatives, and my wife had a chicken noodle dinner, and he loved it. Now that's, kind of the founding father, But anyway, Ed came out, so it was a neat deal. And so I've really been fortunate with some of the guys I've known. And there again, it goes back to really suit up and show up.
Right, right. These guys respect you. That's for sure, too.
Anyway, thank you.
How many gallons of gas are you pumping every month?
Well, I don't know if you could. That's really something for TV to disclose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean they figure. Yeah.
Fair enough, because I know you're pumping a lot to ditch witch
it does
those
good.
guys. Okay,
it
good.
does good. Yeah.
Ethanol or non-ethanol? What's your opinion?
Non-ethanol.
Yeah.
Ethanol, gasoline, and we never have used it. Sinclair don't really want to use it either. Well, my basis thought on that was if you have to, fine, but that's, ethanol, that's corn, that's whatever. I mean, if you're Illinois somewhere and you're one of them farmers and sell it, fine.
Yeah.
But we're an oil field state.
Right.
I mean, we're in Oklahoma. What do you want ethanol in your car for? I mean, that's just maybe I'm old school.
Yeah. Well,
but that's
I
me.
think, I'm with you. The whole ethanol thing is.
And
I'm from chicken country, and it's making feed higher for chickens because they're selling corn.
Yeah,
they make
I
more
know.
money selling corn for ethanol.
So yeah.
Okay, so we're down to our last three questions. If you get these three questions correct, you get to take home this Perry Live with Ron Drake mug.
Okay, fire on.
Number one, have you ever been in a magazine or had your house or property featured in a magazine?
My house in my old company was on front page of the Oklahoman with the Sinclair.
That was my second question.
Okay, well, the first question was I shouldn't say it, but the house we just sold our home about a month ago, in Perry, and it was Home and Gardens magazine, 1951.
Okay.
So, but that picture and everything went with the house. I wish we'd have still had it,
Yeah.
but anyway, Ruby gave it to
That's cool.
so who bought the house, which they
So
probably
Home
should
and
have had
Garden.
it. Yeah.
And so you've been on the cover of the Oklahoman newspaper
I've been
before?
on the front page of Oklahoma because of that event, and John Grindike helping me, I guess, because I just used that name. Well, no, it goes back again to, he said, you done it, Craig, suit up and show up. If we wouldn't have been there 80 years, there wouldn't be nobody
Right.
for me to call and
Right.
say, hey,
Right.
you know what I mean? So there again, it goes back to not really a money deal. It goes back to be there.
And you didn't even know that you were on the cover of the paper?
Nope, I didn't know it. They came and told me it would probably be on the business page, and the next morning, my telephone was beeping. I had text message. Ruby said, who is that? I said, it's John Grindike, and John Vance said, you better read the Oklahoman today. So that was it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the last question, and we have a picture. That we have somebody here that you've had dinner with. Have you ever had dinner with the governor?
Yes, I have, and there again, people wonder how I did that. Well, let's say I don't want to get real political. I've been a Republican, but I met Mary Fallon. My friend John Boone had a function at the 611 Bakehouse, and
yeah.
it was, I forgot what it was. John paid the most, and he asked me if I'd contribute something. I can't remember what I contributed, but anyway, I met her there, and then she said, what do you do? And I said, well, I have the oldest operating station in Oklahoma over here.
Yeah.
And she said, well, you know, I'll come over there and gas up. And so they came over there and gassed up, and then she said if she got to be governor, like I'd be invited to the inaugural ball, and it was at the Marla Mansion, and my wife and I were, and we went to
Yes.
it in Ponca City. And it was great. It was.
And you end up sitting at the table right there
Yeah,
with them.
yeah,
and
yeah. And
getting
her,
to know her
Yep.
husband's
Yep.
family or something.
Uh-huh. And her husband grew up around Fay, Visay, Watonga, where my mother had came from.
Oh, okay.
So she knew the same people and stuff that she did. And then there again, it's one of them deals too. I ran into her because my friend John asked me if I wanted to go over there to that deal, and I said, yeah, I'll do that. So there again, it was just, you know.
Yeah.
And so since then, I mean, with her, A.J. Griffin, this was about 5 years ago, my gas pumps and everything, gas pumps, Tom's Candy Machines, pop machines, are in the Oklahoma History Center across from the Capitol on display in the second floor with Bob Blackburn, which also was a friend of mine. He used to come to Perry, and when John Boone and I were on the board at the local museum out here on Fur Avenue in the 80s.
Yeah.
And Rhonda Stevens is related to him. She's a Perry lady. So it all kind of, that's how it worked out.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show.
You bet.
Thanks for coming
Hey,
on. You get to take the mug with you.
Well, hey, thank you. Appreciate that. And I hope that everything goes big time in
Thank
Perry,
you.
Oklahoma.
Yeah,
I
do
really
too.
do. I mean,
you're
I
a
probably
big
hope so
supporter.
more than you do.
I'm sure you have more.
So-
You've got more at stake.
Anyway,
If you
so-
ever, I encourage you around 9:30. You can pop into the nutrition shop, and you'll learn way more stories than we had time to talk about here today. But it's good. It's good talking with you, Craig. And so, if you like this, guys, share it. We want you to share it. If you're from Perry, share the YouTube link, or if you're watching on Flip This Town, give it a share so we can spread the word of what's happening here in Perry, Oklahoma. So thanks for tuning in to Perry Live, and we will see you guys next week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.